Hey everyone, I thought I'd share a close-up look of the new WL Toys 2428 1/24 scale crawler with you. Just looking a little bit closer at the car itself. So I've got it turned on at the moment so you can see all the lights going. There's quite a few of them. Indicators work, and on the rear as well. So let's take a bit of a closer look underneath the hood. So there's one snap pin that goes in here. I've taken it out because I'm terrible at doing this with one hand. It's nice to know that the lid folds back on a hinge, so it's really easy to access. So let's take a quick look at the electronics first. It is run by a very small 2-cell battery, 7.4 volts, so 2S, 2.59 watt hours. I can't maths at the moment. Oh, 350 milliamp hours. Thanks for helping out there. So that battery runs via this long cable here all the way back to the combination ESC receiver unit here. So you can see the power coming in here, all of the lights for the LEDs. A little bit more complicated than usual because it includes the turning signal as well. That little yellow plug there is the output for the motor, which I'll show you in a moment, and also the output for a 3-wire servo too. Speaking of the motor, it's a little 130 size motor, which is about as small as you can get. So we'll see how that performs a bit later on when we get to that section of the car. And we'll round it out by the servo, which is mounted on top of the front diff, which is exactly where you want it to be rather than mounted to the chassis. That way that the steering can work entirely independent of the suspension. Now, the suspension I really like on this car. I was worried about it at first because it's super soft. But what that means is you can get the flex that you always see that when you put these cars in videos. Let's just put the shell back on. That means that you will get a really good flex, and that being soft like that means the articulation is really easy, so you've got a much better chance of having more tyres getting contact on the ground, and that's actually carried through the tyre itself. And of course you can't see that, you can't feel that in real life, but I can tell you now that's the softest tyre compound that I've ever felt in a WL Toys car, which are typically hard. So really nice to see something soft there. Wheels are held on by lock nut. There is a small hex that drives them through, which I can show you later on. So let's take an underneath look. So really nice big articulation on the suspension here, and it's good to see that. Let's just focus on that. All of the suspension links are actually on ball joints rather than just straight screws, so that they can rotate in more than one direction. And that's one of the reasons why the suspension is so easy moving. So I'm really pleased with that. Can't really show you here. The motor connects through a gearbox in there and plastic drive shafts going front in there. Now, I can't actually push the car back and forward with load on, which makes me wonder if there's a worm gear somewhere in the drive, so don't try to force it back and forward on its own. That should make it interesting when it comes to crawling too. I can't think there's anything else I probably want to show you. So rear solid axle, of course, lock diffs as they are with crawlers to get the maximum traction. Oh yeah, that's right. So the front, let's just turn that wheel there. You can see there's a nice little metal dog bone and cup up the front there. So it's nice that there's a metal one, and they look like they've been pulled straight from the little 1/28 scale cars, like the 284161, the 284131, the 284010, and I can't remember any other numbers. But overall, I really like the look of the suspension and the feel of the tyres. So I think this one's got really good potential to be actually quite a good crawler. We'll see how that little 130 motor handles though.